This was the scene at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival on October 1st, 2017. Approximately 22,000 people were gathered in this open-air venue on the Las Vegas Strip for the final night of the event. At 10:05 p.m., as country star Jason Aldean performed, automatic gunfire began raining down from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. Over the next 11 minutes, the crowd was trapped in a kill zone while a shooter fired more than 1,000 rounds from above. The identity of the shooter didn't match the profiles typically associated with such violence. He wasn't a known militant or a member of a fringe group. He was Stephen Paddock, a 64-year-old retired accountant who had built a multi-million-dollar real estate empire. Paddock's history was remarkably quiet. He lived in a Nevada retirement community, maintained his own properties, and knew his tenants by name. Prior to that night, he had no criminal record. This is the central mystery of the Las Vegas attack. A financially stable retiree with a stable domestic life orchestrated the deadliest mass shooting by a single person in American history. While Stephen Paddock appeared unremarkable, his family history held a specific shadow. His father, Benjamin Hoskins Paddock, was a diagnosed psychopath and a bank robber who spent years on the FBI's most wanted list after escaping from federal prison. Stephen grew up without him. As an adult, Stephen Paddock was defined by a specific analytical temperament. He was a man of numbers and systems, approaching every interest from auditing to real estate with a relentless, singular focus. He spent his retirement applying this logic to video poker. Unlike most gamblers, Paddock treated the machines as a solvable problem, studying the odds to beat the house system. It was a habit that earned him six-figure lines of credit and complimentary suites at major casinos. In October 2016, his focus shifted. He began stockpiling dozens of rifles and traveling into the desert to test them. To those who knew him, it appeared to be nothing more than a renewed interest in a long-standing hobby. Paddock spent nearly a year planning the logistics of the attack. He researched police tactics, studied SWAT response times, and treated the upcoming massacre with the same methodical, calculated approach he used at the poker machines. This diagram shows the vantage point Paddock secured on September 25th. By checking into the Vista Suite on the 32nd floor, he obtained a clear, unobstructed line of sight to the festival grounds below. Over the next several days, he used the hotel's own elevators to move 23 suitcases full of weapons and ammunition into his room. Because he was a high-tier guest at the casino, his frequent trips with heavy luggage didn't trigger any suspicion from staff. On the morning of October 1st, he brought up his final supplies and ordered room service. He asked the waiter to leave the cart behind, then locked himself inside to wait for the concert to begin. Every step of this setup was designed to maximize his position. He had transformed a luxury hotel suite into a fortified sniper's nest, hidden in plain sight. At 9:18 p.m., an unrelated electronic alert sent security officer Jesus Campos to the 32nd floor. It was a routine check that inadvertently placed him in the path of the shooter's plan. When Campos arrived at 10:04 p.m., he found that Paddock had bolted the service stairway door shut. It was a tactical barricade designed to delay any security teams attempting to reach the end of the hallway. 1 minute later, at 10:05, Paddock began firing into the crowd. While he shot, he monitored a laptop connected to hidden cameras he had placed on the room service cart outside his door. When he saw Campos in the hallway, Paddock fired through the door, wounding the officer. For 10 minutes, Paddock alternated between firing at the crowd and firing into the hallway to keep responders at bay. He continued until 10:15 p.m., when he fired a final set of shots and then went silent. His preparations allowed him to control the entire environment. He had neutralized the hallway and maintained his position above the festival until he chose to stop. SWAT teams breached the room at 10:41 p.m. Inside, they found Paddock dead from a self-inflicted gunshot. He was surrounded by an arsenal of modified rifles and the specialized equipment he had used to monitor the police response. The human toll of those 10 minutes was 60 deaths and nearly 700 physical injuries. For the 22,000 people who survived the festival, the night became a defining trauma. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit spent months examining Paddock's life. They scrutinized his bank accounts, his relationships, and his digital history, searching for a trigger or a clear motive for the escalation. They found no evidence of a manifesto or a suicide note. There was no history of political activism, no religious affiliation, and no debt that could explain the attack. The Bureau investigators eventually concluded the attack was purely tactical. Paddock had planned to die in that room and had taken calculated steps to ensure he would commit the act at a time and in a manner of his own choosing. This memorial reflects the silence left behind by the investigation. Paddock had planned every detail of the shooting, yet he left behind no explanation for why he chose to do it. In the end, the FBI closed the case without identifying a single motivating factor. We are left with the facts of the planning and the scale of the tragedy.